August 2024 Sidereal Astrology forecast for the month. My friend, this is your August overview. Welcome to Keeping It Real with Sidereal, where we keep it real here with all of the upcoming astrology transits that are happening in our sky. And we have got quite a few, my friend. So, this month, we are starting our month off in Cancer. Our sun is still moving through that lovely water energy of Cancer. Mercury has gone retrograde. So, we're going to talk about Mercury's retrograde this month. We're also going to talk about some upcoming transits with Jupiter that you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. And some other things that we have going on. We've got our new moon happening on August 4th, and we have our full moon happening later in the month. So, my friend, grab your notebook, grab whatever it is that you are. Gonna need to get started because we are about to dive in. So, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And as I do that, I do want to take a moment to let you know that this particular forecast is also on our podcast, Keeping It Real with, the Cosmic Mystic podcast. Keeping It Real with Sidereal is our YouTube channel, and the Cosmic Mystic podcast. You can get that on all your favorite platforms. So we can dive in there and hear all about what we have going on and through those earbuds. So if you're somebody that just wants to hear this, then and take this on your walk with you and then come back and write notes, then go check it out on the podcast. If you're like, I'm ready to see the visuals or I want to see the charts, then stay tuned because I'm about to share my screen here and you're going to get to see our first state, as I like to call it, state of the union, state of the stars. How about that? I like that better. So here is the state of the stars as we kick off this new month. So let's just really quickly show you where everybody's at, and then we'll dive into these a little bit more, beginning with the sun. So as I mentioned, we've got our sun here in Cancer. So we kick off the month in Cancer at 15 degrees here. We've got our Mercury. We can see Mercury down here. Now, here on the first, we do not have Mercury going retrograde just yet, but Mercury is in Leo and we are about 8 degrees away from Venus. So these two have been pretty close together. We had that Venus Mercury conjunction earlier in July, and we're going to see that conjunction again later this month, in just a bit, actually, when Mercury goes retrograde. But Venus is now in Leo, so we can see her now wanting all the things to be seen, heard, and understood in our relationships. If we come over here, we've got our Mars in Taurus. So Mars is still hanging out here in Taurus. We've got Jupiter in Taurus. And again, these guys are pretty close. They're about 7 degrees. And we are going to see a conjunction here this month. So stay tuned for that. We've also got our Uranus here in Taurus. And if we come over here onto this other side of the chart, we've got a couple more we want to talk about here. That is Chiron is here in Pisces, and Pisces, Chiron is actually retrograde. So we do have a lot of that internal work ready to be done. This is actually retrograde season is actually when it's the best time to do that inner work. Now, if you actually talk to me, I would probably say it's always the best time to do the inner work. This season, though, every season, every retrograde period offers us an opportunity to do some deeper work. So you've got Chiron there in Pisces, and so it's going to come back into Pisces here. We've got our Neptune here in Pisces, who's also retrograde. And then we've got Saturn over here, still in Aquarius. Saturn has not moved out of Aquarius yet, and it is retrograde, so we won't see that for a bit longer. And then if we come all the way down here, we've got Pluto, who is in Capricorn. So Pluto is still in Capricorn and will be there for quite a while. All right, so that is your state of the stars to let you know where everybody is at as we begin this month. Now, you're probably like, hey, Danny, you didn't mention this little guy up here. So there are two here. This is the north node and this is the south node, and they are in opposition of each other. So we definitely will always see these two in the sky. And I do want to point out that these aren't planets or asteroids, they are actually mathematical points in our sky in reference to our moon. They are lunar nodes, so they are in reference to our moon. Now, do they give us some really good insight? Yes, absolutely. I don't normally talk about them in our forecasts, but when you do a one-on-one reading, I usually dive in a little bit deeper to help you understand how those are affecting you in this season. Okay, so there we go. Now let's dive in with our sun, because our sun is connecting, is hanging out with some guys this month that I want to dive into. So let's first go with, I'm not going to go into every transit here. I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the main ones that I see that are going to be affecting us. And the first one I want to point out is the sextile over here, which is actually to Jupiter and Mars. So this sextile, anytime you're dealing with a transit that involves a sextile, it is like BFF energy. They are really working together really nicely. And so there's with Jupiter and the sun, there's tons of optimism and really happiness, really feel good energy, starting new projects, beginning things, very generous energy around this. And so this first half of the month, as we are moving through this, know that the sun and Jupiter are here kind of making things a little bit easier. They are calming things down a bit. They are bringing in that positivity and optimism so we can lean on them as things can potentially get a little interesting, let's just say. Now, the other one I want to talk about happens on the 10th, and that is with Chiron. So the sun does connect here with Chiron, and Chiron, is our wounded healer. It's our wounds. It is our deepest wounds. And as it is retrograde, there are opportunities here for us. And so, one of the things that I love about this particular transit is it gives us the opportunity to do some work on being seen, being visible, and really allowing ourselves to showcase our unique talents, our unique way of doing things, the things that make us, right? Because I'm not the only sidereal astrologer. I am not the only astrologer, right? There are many of us. As a matter of fact, I was having lunch with a good friend of mine who is now become an astrologer and is doing her own weekly forecast here on YouTube. And we had such a great conversation about astrology. And it's so cool because we are very different. And, hers involves Chinese medicine. And so she incorporates that energy into her readings. I work in past life, Akashic records, and healing. And so, my work is slightly different. And so, I have a uniqueness. She has a uniqueness that we both bring to the table. And so Chiron here really helps us do that. Now, it's really interesting because the sun is going to begin in Cancer, which is a really good opportunity to kind of heal some of those female relationships, the women in your life, right? Those type of relationships are really good to look at here. But then when we move into Leo, there's a lot of good opportunity for healing some of that inner child or doing some inner child work so that we can be able to express our uniqueness. So if, you had an experience where maybe somebody shot you down because of your uniqueness in your childhood, this would be a great time to do some healing work around that. I raise my hand here because I can probably count at least 5 times in my childhood, at least, where my schoolmates definitely pointed out my uniqueness and not in a positive way. All right. So the last one is going to be the square with Uranus here on the 13th. And so the sun square Uranus, there is uncertainty here. And so there can be a feeling of uneasiness or anxiousness, or there's a change coming. It's almost as if like there's tension building up and building up. And the behaviors around this can be very, very unpredictable. Okay. Very unpredictable, radical change, sudden change, unexpected change, just coming out of nowhere. And so I want to tell you that because this can definitely, I'm a firm believer that one of the things that are true in this world is change. Change is constant. Change is always happening. Mother Earth, Gaia, she's a beautiful reminder of that because she shows us change every single season. And so it is definitely, sometimes that change is not something we want. It is not something we think that we might have asked for, but there is always a blessing and an opportunity in each occurrence. So I often tell my friends, be careful. My clients, be careful what you are calling in to this world because, my friend, it will happen. You're manifesting every single day, whether you think the the day is going to be horrible or the day is going to be great. You will manifest that, my friend. So I tell you that to tell you that this particular transit, this square with Uranus here, can bring some change that maybe you were not anticipating, or it's happening quicker than you thought, and you're having to adjust and adapt quickly. So keep that in mind. Um, there may be some chaos in the collective, which, again, that's up to you whether to subscribe to that or not. My one of my biggest things I'm going to tell you this month in particular is to unplug from the collective. There is no need for you to be connected and plugged into it at all times. Now, are there times when we want to get plugged in? Do we need to get plugged in? Absolutely. And there's also a lot of time where we don't need to be plugged in. So make sure you are unplugging from the collective on a regular basis for your own mental, spiritual, and emotional well being. Okay. Oh, and mental. I didn't say that one, but mental. Okay, let's dive into the rest of our transits this month. So I do want to talk about our new moon and full moon really quick. So let's go to our new moon that actually takes place here on, I don't think I have the right hour here. Yep, let's go forward. All right, so it does take place in Cancer. As you can see here, I'm just going to get the exact time in here for you. It's one of the reasons why I love Luna. It's really easy to use. I highly recommend if you're somebody who wants to start looking at charts, I highly recommend Luna. Luna's great. I've been using Luna for probably at least 5 years, maybe 6 years. I don't generally use Luna. Just my preferred platform is actually Prometheus. That's who I actually use when I'm diving in and looking at all this stuff. But I love to use Luna to show you because of its capabilities of streaming things back so that we can just look at certain things like this. So that's one of the really beautiful things. It's super easy to use. The interface is really nice. So I highly recommend checking out Luna. I am not an affiliate, although if they have have an affiliate program, let me know. Maybe I should become an affiliate. All right. So here we are at 18 degrees in Cancer, and we have this sextile over here to the conjunction of Jupiter and Mars, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then we also have this connection here to our nodes, which I mentioned earlier in our forecast. So, if we look at this particular new moon, one of the things that I have been saying is that this is a conjunction blending emotional intuition with ambitious action. So this one is asking us to grow, to expand, to work with our relationships and bringing in new opportunities here. So whether this is because it is in Cancer, this is generally speaking our home, our family, our female relationships, oftentimes mother or daughter relationships. We also might see aunts in this as well, or just female relationships in general. Sometimes we could see a female boss or manager as well in this. This is a time because there is this emotional connection fueled with Mars's ambition and action, with Jupiter's like growth and expansion, where we have this opportunity for something new here. Now, it's not just in glossing over everything that's happened and saying, okay, I want to have a better relationship with my mom, and so I'm going to forget everything and we're just going to have a great relationship. No, it's about looking at the opportunities that you do have in that relationship, whatever it may be right now for you, or making some decisions about that relationship, doing some inner work, setting some boundaries, if that is what is needed, whatever it might be. But there's some really good feelings of like, oh, okay, I can do something about this, where we don't feel stuck, we don't feel prisoned, but we feel open, we feel excited to do something about it. So this is a really beautiful opportunity for us here in this with this new moon in Cancer. Now let's take a look at the full moon, which takes place on the 19th. All right, we've got our full moon. Let's adjust that just a bit to, we're going to go an hour. All right, there we can see. So we're going to see our new moon in, I'm sorry, our full moon in Aquarius. So you can see here we have our sun will have transitioned into Leo. So we're at 2 degrees Leo. And then we have the opposition over here to the moon in Aquarius. So whenever we have a full moon, we're dealing with opposite signs and opposite energy. Now, the sun in Leo is really being seen and heard and leading ourselves, right? I often say with Leo needs to be seen, heard, and understood. And when it is, like when it knows that, okay, they heard me, they see me, they understood what I said, Leo's fine. When they don't get that attention that they are looking for, that is when they struggle. And so part of their lesson, their learning is to become the leader and step into that energy of leadership. Now, Aquarius is the opposite energy. Aquarius is doing for the good of all, is for the community. So it's like the leader of the community in this place, but it doesn't have to lead from the front. It can lead from the back. It can lead from within the community. It doesn't have to be in the spotlight like Leo does. And so this full moon gives us the opportunity to say, okay, with this full moon, how do I want to lead? Do I need to lead from the front? Because, my friend, sometimes we need to be the driver in the driver's seat. I've often said this as in my own transformation, I was in the back seat of my life taking in the view. And when I decided, actually, I woke up, let's use that word. I woke up from the back seat, realizing I was in the back seat, taking in the view, that I decided to step into the front seat. Now, I still didn't step into that driver's seat, but I stepped into the front seat and started taking control of my life. And eventually, I moved over into the driver's seat and became the driver of my life. And so this full moon is giving you that opportunity to say, where am I with this? Am I needing to step into that driver's seat? Have I been in that back seat too long and it's time for me to step into the front? Or do I need to step into the back? Do I need to step into the back in this community that I am part of? Have I been trying to force the leadership and maybe I need to take a step back? Maybe I'm not the one who's supposed to be at the front in this community. Maybe I'm supposed to be a really good participant. Maybe my support is in supporting the leader. And so you can look at this and say, how am I getting involved? Because the Aquarius energy is the social justice energy. Whatever the beliefs are, whatever the causes are that you believe in getting involved in those communities. So whether that is we're in an election year, so from a political standpoint, from a values standpoint, from an area where you feel called to help and serve, what are the communities that you are in and how are you participating in those communities? So you can take this full moon and use that as an opportunity to take a look and release any expectations maybe that you have had in the past of what it means to be in community or have a community, and maybe find something new. All right, next I want to look at Mars. So Mars is it's our motivation. It's our drive. It's what gets us moving and going in action. And so right now, through pretty much all of August 27th, in fact, the Mars will be in Taurus, and then it will move out of Taurus and into Gemini. So when it's in Taurus, though, Mars, as I've kind of talked about in last month's forecast, is Mars is more cautious here. His decision making is a little bit slower and it's a little bit more cautious. Um, there's more determination here when it comes to financial matters. There's a more of a focus because Taurus does rule over money. So there's a bit of a more focus here. Our energy tends to be much more grounded here in our actions and persistent. So even if we're beating a dead horse, my friend, and I hate that metaphor, but it really rings true to that idea of like sometimes we are just going after something that is not ours and we need to let it go. We need to give it up. But patience actually comes in here quite a bit, which Mars does not like. Let me just say, Mars does not like that. So there's a couple of things here that I want to point out about Mars. And in particular, let's talk about this energy that Mars has with the sun, because we're still going to see some of this energy come through. And I want to just bring it in as a reminder. So the sun has been sextile Mars from July 2nd, and it will continue until August 15th. So we're still going to see this sextile. We saw that, remember when I talked about Jupiter and that really good optimistic energy? Well, Mars with this is boosting our self-confidence, boosting our physical strength, our courage, our vitality. And so physical exercise, physical activities is really important to move this energy through. So we're going to keep seeing for the next few weeks here at the beginning of August, which is a great time to tackle those projects that you've been putting off. And as a matter of fact, my love started working on our backyard to put in a spa. And so he's building a deck for it. And it's something that he has been putting off and putting off for 2 years now. And so he actually got started doing it, has pulled the, put the bases in and started working on it. So this is a great time to put those things that maybe are a little bit more physical labor involved or a little bit more work involved that we've been putting off to the past. All right, let's talk about this big one here because this is a big one, and that is the Mars and Jupiter conjunction. The last time we saw this conjunction was in May of 2022. So this aspect does happen every 2 years. We will see a conjunction of Mars and Jupiter. Now, in particular, this one begins on August 1st and goes all the way through August 25th. And as you can see right here, we actually have the actual conjunction. So I'm going to bring it over here for you, where they are at 22 degrees on August 14th. We're almost there. There we go. 10:06 a.m. Central. Now, this energy is ideal for new projects requiring energy, initiative, and courage. So, Mars being that energy, that courage, that initiative type energy, and Jupiter being that growth, expansion, happiness, optimism. Can you see why this is an ideal time of action, manifesting what it is that you desire? So, if there is an expansion of some sort, a growth of some sort that you are looking for, the things that you are doing during this period here from August 1st to August 25th, you will be able to reap those rewards over the next 2 years. So, you can think of this as the seeds that I am planting now are going to be germinating and will be able to be harvested within the next 2 years. So, this is going to amplify our passion, encourage more directness, courage. Let's see. This is a good time for adventure and physical activity and action. The one caution I would say here is there could be an overwhelming confidence that can come through here. And when I say that, it's like it's a little overdoing it, right? It's like you're so overconfident that you take excessive risk or you overindulge in some way, right? So we want to be careful of that. Now, I will say, because we are looking at this in Taurus, there is a tendency to not take it too far because Taurus, right? He is gonna kind of slow it down for us, allow us to take it easy, not push ourselves too much. So, a lot of people have been asking me, Danny, how come I'm not feeling as much drive and energy? I feel really tired, and I will say to you now, it is the Mars and Jupiter conjunction. This energy is really great, and in a different zodiac sign like Aries, man, watch out. But in Taurus, it is going to be softer. It is going to be a little bit more draining. It's going to take more energy. So I say this because Taurus loves to delve into the sensual pleasures of things. It loves its comforts. It loves its time to like take things in nice and easy, to stop and smell the roses. So this is bringing a slowness to this energy, which I love because it is grounded. We are not just taking some action to take some action. We are taking purposeful, intentional action. It's that steady progress here. So, my friend, I invite you to slow it down, enjoy it, feel it more. Okay, let's move into Venus. Actually, no, let's move into Mercury and then we'll move into Venus. So, Mercury or Mercury. How about that? Mercury does go retrograde here on the 5th. So let me show you. Mercury is right here and it has gone retrograde. As a matter of fact, it went retrograde about just after midnight on the 4th. So beginning our day on the 5th, we are here in Mercury retrograde in Leo. Now, it does start in Leo because Mercury did move into Leo, but it is going to move back into Cancer. So I know our tropical friends are talking about Mercury retrograde in Leo, which I 100% agree. And then it is going to move back into Cancer on the 22nd of August. So majority of this retrograde, we will be in Leo, and then we will move into Cancer. So, and then keep in mind that once it does go direct, it's going to again move through Cancer and then back into Leo. So there's a couple of things that I do want to talk about with the Mercury retrograde. And I did a whole podcast episode that you can get on the Cosmic Mystic podcast. I'll make sure to link it down below, that talks all about Mercury retrogrades in general. Now, this particular Mercury retrograde is in Leo, and Leo, again, as I've kind of mentioned before, those 3 words that I like to say with Leo is being seen, heard, understood. And so it's an opportunity for us to reflect about how we are thinking about that, how we are speaking about that, how we are communicating. So communication, and communication isn't just speaking, right? Communication is in our body language. Communication might be in our written language. There might be different ways that we're communicating. But this is an opportunity for us to look at that, look at all those areas that Leo rules, which is for one, being seen, heard, and understood, being the leader, being in the spotlight, taking that place that is rightly ours. It's also a really good opportunity for us to work with our inner child, whether we're doing some healing work with our inner child or inviting more playfulness. I am somebody who is a fan of the Hallmark movies, and although they are harder and harder and harder for me to watch these days, I did see one this weekend called Junebug, which I would highly recommend. It is super cute and involves working with her 8-year-old child and her 8-year-old version of her, inviting her for more fun and play. So this is a good opportunity to work with your inner child this month to bring out some more fun and some play, just in that really beautiful, curious way that children have. Now, the last thing I want to say here is this conjunction here with Venus. So, right here, between the 3rd of August all the way through the 11th of August, we will see the conjunction here with the Venus. And so, this is making things more harmonious and pleasant. And there will also be more of an emphasis in our relationships and communication. So, although these two coming together is really nice and wonderful, there also is the energy with the retrograde. And the retrograde does pull in this more internal work for ourselves. So it's an opportunity for us to maybe work through some of the ways that we might be holding back expressing how we what we think or how we feel about somebody or something, right? So it's a way for us to kind of like work through some of those things. Maybe you're somebody who is very expressive in communicating how you feel about somebody. Maybe you're somebody who's not, right? Not to say that one is good or the other, but it's an opportunity to look at that and saying, am I over expressing? Is there such a thing? I don't know. But is there over expressing? And is there an opportunity for me to express more? That's up to you, my friend, and what feels good for you. I'm not here to tell you one way is right or the other. That is completely up to you, but it's an opportunity for you to look at that, right? And to say, and even look at like I'm looking at this for myself, and how am I showing people that I appreciate them? The people that I have in my life, how am I doing that? Am I doing this verbally? Am I doing this through a gift, right? What are my ways that I like to show love? And am I doing that to the people in my life? Am I giving them gratitude, right? Am I showing that to them? And how am I doing that? So it's something for you to take a look at, for you to consider. This is also really artistic and creative energy here with Venus. So I would definitely say take a look at that as well. Now, another one I want to point out here is when Mercury gets back here and connects with the sun. So let's talk about that, because that happens on the 16th here, where we will see them come together. So the sun being our consciousness and Mercury being that focus on thinking and communication, there's some adaptability and curiosity that is going to be at the forefront of our minds, as well as more of a feeling of busyness. And it's going to be through this period for about 5 days. So through the 21st here, from the 16th to the 21st, there is this energy of like busyness and wanting to connect with people and wanting to be around people. It's much more social. Now, because of the retrograde, I'm going to say that it can also be an opportunity for you to look at how you are communicating with people about the things that you want to do, the social interactions. I often tell my clients when I hear like, you know, I don't have anything to do, or I don't have any friends. And I'm like, is that true? Is that truth? Or is there something else? And oftentimes it might be that they haven't expressed that they wanted to go participate in something, or they haven't made it known that they are open, right, to going and doing things. Sometimes people just think you're busy and they don't invite you somewhere because they think you're busy, and it's not that. It's just that maybe you haven't been open to that. So it's an opportunity for you to look at your energy too and say, am I being open for these opportunities? All right, my friend, this has been your Sidereal Astrology forecast for the month of August 2024. I hope you have enjoyed learning just at a high level what is going on this month. Now, remember, each week we go in and break it down with our weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast that you can find here on the channel, Keeping It Real with Sidereal, and on the podcast, the Cosmic Mystic Podcast. I will tell you about some upcoming events we have this month. The first being the New Moon Circle. We have a New Moon Circle every single month virtually. So you can get more information about that to come together on Zoom in Circle. In Sacred Circle, we do set up sacred space, and we talk about the energy of this new moon and how it's going to affect us, and how we can work with it, and then set a very powerful intention with our new moon ritual at the end. So definitely come check that out. And then we have a full moon breathwork, somatic breathwork session on the 17th. I believe it's on a Saturday. And that is where we will release anything that has come up in our somatic breathwork journey. So I'm excited to be bringing those. This one is free this month. This is the last time I'll be doing it free. They will be paid moving forward. But as I've been working on getting certified as a somatic breathwork practitioner, I have offered this course for free. And as a matter of fact, if you would like to have a somatic breathwork session with me, right now I am doing practice sessions. I still have some available. My goal is to do 28 before the end of August. So if you want to get one of those slots, use the link down below to grab one of those slots. If you don't see any more available, it means we are fully booked. But I will let you know when I do open them up for paid sessions in the future. All right, my friend, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much for being with me today, and have a beautiful, beautiful August. Until we meet again, my friend, keep shining your unique light. Bye.